Tonight at 6 o'clock, a big decision pending tonight from a federal judge in Louisville, and it is the big story here at 6. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt. Should the man accused of shooting at a Louisville mayoral candidate be allowed to go on home incarceration or have to stay in jail to await his trial? Another hearing about all this was held this afternoon in federal court in downtown Louisville. WHS 11's Ford Sanders was in the courtroom covering it all. The last arguments were made and questions answered. He's live from the courthouse with more on when that decision could be made. Ford?
Well, Quintez will be heading back to detention today, but that may not necessarily be his final stop. The judge actually didn't make a decision today, rather saying that he will have a written decision available at a later date. Now, the prosecution started by focusing in on Brown's mental health, saying they don't believe these issues caused this alleged shooting, as they say it was too pre-planned, too pre-orchestrated. Now, when it comes to jail, they say they believe he needs to be in detention because they say treatment alone isn't enough to prove he won't be a further threat. Something that came out of last hearing was he had also allegedly done research on another candidate. We are just now finding out in the last hour or so that this was Jeffersontown, Kentucky Mayor Bill Deariff. Now, Brown's defense last time tell us that they didn't know anything about this. Deariff said in a statement the FBI confirms he was one of the searches, but says, of course, with him being mayor already of another city, it could have been for any reason. Now, both the defense attorneys and U of L professor Dr. Ricky Jones say they are here for Quintez and are actually quite hopeful for his release back into home incarceration.
That was not a hard decision for me to make. I understand that's a hard decision for a lot of people, and one that a lot of people disagree with, and they wouldn't serve and they wouldn't even speak up. I think that's problematic.
So this judge here, he had some very specific questions that he wanted answered, and again, seemed very thoughtful, very deliberate in the way that he was going about deciding this. And the fact that he is going to take time is actually, I think, in our favor, because I think when you look at all the evidence in this case, under the statute that he's required to follow, that he too is going to make a ruling that Mr. Brown should be released.
Now, the defense says in terms of mental health, Brown was seen at Our Lady of Peace, that's a treatment center, and they released him back into home therapy, which the attorneys say proves he is not posing a future threat. That's coming from the defense. And one important date that we want to note is May 5th. That's next week. It's actually scheduled to be a status conference for them to set some more calendar dates and more hearings. However, the judge says he will for sure have his written decision before then and may even allow some arguments to happen at that conference as well.